Hello, I'm in the beautiful Regent's Park today in London, and I want to talk about how using a notebook versus using a phone will help you increase the sales that you get and also help you increase the quality of the relationships that you have. A number of these points are quite subtle, but a number of them are glaringly obvious once they're pointed out to you. And this is not just about better for you, how it will help your sales for yourself, but also how it impacts other people and how that influences how well you do in sales. Let's get into this. So this is a comparison between a notebook and a phone. So if you're in a meeting and you're taking notes in the book versus if you're sat there in the meeting taking notes on your phone, even to a point a laptop, but this is mostly a comparison to the phone. The notebook allows you to be fully engaged in the conversation. What is your phone other than a dopamine slot machine with endless notifications coming through from email, social media, timer, health app, screen time, everything? Your phone is constantly relaying to you, if you've got notifications turned on, a stream of information which is not to do with the current situation that you find yourself in, which is a conversation with someone who has given up their valuable time to sit with you. Not just that, but hopefully they've given up their valuable time to sit with you and talk about something which will add value to them. That to me sounds like a situation that you want to be fully engaged in. So using the notebook allows you to be fully engaged. Instead of sat there getting the notifications through on the phone as I'm typing, there are no notifications here. The most likely notification to come through from this is the previous page that I've written on, where I see a note that I haven't followed up on. And I'll do a video on how to actually use a notebook effectively, or at least how I use a notebook effectively. So that's that point, which is it allows you to be fully engaged. The next one is for the other person. If I am writing in this book, that person knows exactly what I'm doing. They know that I am writing down something to do with the last thing that they said. If I'm on the phone, they have no idea what I'm doing, and actually what they think I'm doing is anything other than being at the meeting. I'm sat there on my phone like this. For all they know, I might be messaging my mum, which could be fine in certain situations. But you could just be messaging anyone or replying to an email or even scrolling Facebook. Can you imagine? You're sat there, someone's trying to sell you something and they're sat there on their phone. So rude. So if you sit there on your phone, there is a subconscious element of that person that thinks that you're not listening to them. Whereas if you have the notebook, that person knows exactly what you're doing, so they know you're listening. That brings me to the next point, which is to do with that other person, which is if they know what you're doing and what you're doing is writing notes based on what they say, subconsciously they're going to feel important. I've had people actually say this to me, which is, wow, you know, when you were taking notes in my conversation, it's really endearing. I feel like I'm being listened to. I feel important that you're taking notes. So subconsciously they'll be flattered. And if you've flattered someone, they will like you more. Because this is a low level of flattery. This isn't, you look beautiful today, you're so handsome in that suit. It isn't that kind of flattery. This is real attention and real listening. That is extremely good flattery. If you are slightly self-conscious and you don't know what to do with your hands in the meeting and you find yourself constantly twiddling your hands like this. Oh, I dropped my pen. Twiddling your hands like this, or fiddling with your rings, or even scratching your face, it gives off signs of nervousness. It doesn't give the other person in the meeting confidence in you as a person. Another horrendous one, which you should stop immediately, is do you bite your nails? it's really off-putting when someone bites their nails. So this notebook here in your hand and the pen, what are your hands doing now? Your hands are holding a notebook and a pen. What is the only thing you're going to be doing with the pen and the notebook? You're going to be taking notes, and you'll be looking back for other useful information that you've recorded before. You're no longer fiddling, you're no longer biting your nails, you're not fiddling with your rings, your hands are steady, you've got one hand on the book, one hand on the pen. It gives much more confidence to your opinion, or it gives the aura of confidence to your opinion. When you want to make a point with your hands, you put the pen over here. I'm labouring this point, but it's a subtle one, like I said. This gives you an aura of higher confidence versus fiddling with your hands, biting your nails, playing with your rings. The next ones are less to do with the sales process, and they're more to do with the long-term effects of using a notebook versus using a phone. The ideas that you have are valuable, but they're only valuable if you record them and then take action. Let's talk about recording. If I have an idea and I write it on my phone, I'm very unlikely to look at that again. It's buzzed, it's down, okay. If I write this in the notebook, under the page, when I flick back through, which I regularly do to find other things, I will see that and it will enter my subconscious once again. It's especially good if you're writing, you have a little tick box next to the idea or your next step. When you're writing these ideas down, if you're writing it on your phone, how often have you opened your phone to record an idea and a notification has been there that you really want to look at? You go on the app, it's probably social media, you look at the app and the next thing you know, you can't remember the idea. It's gone. Notebook, again, no distractions. Idea is down, it's recorded. Finally, I have a big collection of these. I've been keeping notebooks for a very long time. I have two. I have an A5 notebook, which is my main journal. And then I have these smaller A6 ones, which I carry everywhere with me. This is more valuable to me than most of the other stuff that I carry. I would say that since I got rid of the headphones, this has been more valuable to me than my phone for watching videos and things like that. The phone is still the most valuable tool. You can connect with every single person on the planet using their phone number and they pick up most of the time. That's the most valuable tool in sales, is your phone. It's cliche, it's true. I think it will always be true. I have a large collection of these, right? Stay with me here. I have a large collection of these. What I do is, when I finish them, I flick back through. You make notes on the things that you've learned, and you do really see a difference, especially with the larger journal one. But with this smaller one that I carry daily, the ideas in here are fairly temporary. If I want to take an idea from here, I either transfer it to the larger journal or I actually action it on the computer, and I set it up, who's going to do this work, what's the next steps, etc. But just to keep a running total of the kind of things that you're working on and look back through and see interesting things that you've written down. These pages are from a Sam Ovens video where he broke down extremely well a sales funnel. I wrote those down when I was watching the video, the notes that I had. 2 days later, I made a video on it myself, showing what Sam Ovens' process is. But if I hadn't written these down when I was first watching the video and taking the notes, I'd have forgotten 90% of what I'd read. Let's talk about the cost of a notebook. So a small notebook like this, you can pick them up £3 if you get a cheap one. They're not the nicest to write on. I would say that if you spend too much money, the paper is often a bit weird and doesn't work with the cheap ass pens that I like to use. I'm very bad at keeping a pen, so this kind of paper, £3. What size do you want? For carrying it around in your pocket, this fits perfectly in the pocket, in your breast pocket. You can carry it around It's not too big. If you're carrying around a big A5, someone says something to you in a conversation, you pull out a big A5 journal. It's a bit nerdy, in my opinion. This one, small enough, it's a bit like a reporter's book, except you don't flip it over and there's no mess. This will sit, when it's done, sit on the shelf with all of the others in a row, and when I look back through my life at different sections, you really see clearly the different stages that your head is at. So that's what I think you should do. Swap your phone for a small A6 notebook. You'll give the other person the impression you're listening. You can record all the information you need to without distractions. It costs very little. You have something to look back on. You record more of your ideas. You develop more as a person. This will get you more sales. This will make you look better in the eyes of other people. £3. Just as a last note here, the next time you're in a meeting with someone which is on their phone, watch them. Are they engaged? Then watch all the other people when they're talking and the person's on their phone. They get halfway through their sentence and then they stop because they've lost their train of thought, because what they're thinking is, I'm self-conscious because I don't think this person's listening, or I'm frustrated because I don't think this person is listening. That's the worst emotions. Those are the worst emotions in a sales process. Frustration or self-consciousness. You want to make these people feel comfortable in their own skin. You want to make them feel valuable and listened to, and you want them on your side. People only buy from people that are on their team unless they are forced to do so. £3. Always add value.